Today's video is a little spur of the moment. I downloaded the new firmware for my FM3 yesterday, the 5.02 firmware, and I really, I was kind of surprised at the difference in sound I was getting. I've been pretty much up to date with everything. I haven't been doing any of the betas because I've been using this unit for gigs and I don't really want to mess things up, but I figured I would take a whack at it. 2 weeks ago, I used the FM3 for the first time on some gigs. I did a video on it. I was going to use it last weekend for some gigs, but we ran into some issues where suddenly my guitar monitor, my EV speaker, had to be used as a vocal monitor, and the PA system was just, the FM3 sounds terrible through my personal PA. So I have Mackie SRM 450 speakers, and they are lacking a big chunk of what makes guitars sound good when you mic them through. So I opted to go old school. I used my 1970 Deluxe Reverb and the Sur cabinet. You'll see a picture here. And what little pedal board I have left. My friends call my old pedal board Pedal Star Galactica, partially because it was gigantic. It was the Boss ES8 looper and a lot of pedals. And I recently sold all that stuff off, partially as a way to fund my move into Fractal land. Partially because I was just kind of tired of dealing with all that stuff, and I like the simplicity of having the FM3 and the FC6 controller. Having said that, I know that it's not right for all of my gigs. I do calypso gigs, blues gigs, jazz gigs, and I can do all those things with this, but I prefer to use my actual amp. So I ended up doing my cover gig on Friday night with this little assortment of pedals, and I got through the night. It was fun. It sounded really good. When I'm using that amp live, it's a really good amp, especially when I use the extension cabinet. The FM3, I really haven't gotten quite there, but my sounds are getting better. So what we're going to do here, I'm just going to play some of the my live presets, not everything. I'm just going to go through a couple things. It's going to be kind of a short video. I also, there was a Cooper Carter video where he talks about using the input EQ on the amp block to make things sound a little bit better live. So I'm going to kind of show you what I did there. I've been kind of messing with these presets. I learned a lesson last week, which is don't work on your tones when you've got a head cold. I woke up Sunday morning and realized that everything was way too bright, and I'm glad I didn't use it over the weekend. But I've been kind of fiddling with these sounds a little bit. The main thing for me is to make these sounds sound good on stage. If I was recording these sounds, I'd probably have different ways of approaching it, but I really want this to sound best through my personal monitor and through the PA, and that's kind of what I'm aiming for here. All right, I've actually recorded this once today and forgot to hit record on the screen capture, so this is going to be kind of quick because I'm out of time. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of listen to a few sounds. The idea here is that these have evolved a little bit since the last time I did a video 2 weeks ago, and we're just going to play it. This has the firmware 5.02. Yeah, the most recent firmware upgrade that's not beta. I really like the amp modeling improvements. Actually, the changes were how it felt in the room, like when I'm actually playing it, which is really good. I mean, I think it sounds a little bit better. It's not the, it's not magic, but it is an improvement, so I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so here's the clean sound. And it's my Telecaster to start with, and we'll do some Les Paul sounds. Changes that I've actually made to these sounds. This is just the clean sound with the Deluxe Reverb. Cooper Carter has the video where he talks about some of the EQ things you can do to make things sound better live. And the thing I really liked was this input EQ trick where you take about 1,000 hertz, you give it a little bump depending on what you want. Here it is without the EQ trick. And then with it in. Just makes it feel a little bit more lively in the room. As far as this preset goes, the scenes, I've also got my dirty sound. I'm still struggling a little bit with the drives. I'm currently using the Zen Master because that's the closest to the J-Rocket the Dude pedal that I kind of use the most live. Now keep in mind this is just the dirty sound for when I'm using this model. When things get heavier, and louder later on in the night. I'm using my Les Paul. I actually use a couple different presets with different amp models. So this gets used just a little bit, not so much. The blue sound is basically just the exotic AC booster, which is the esoteric ACB. I don't know if this was in the last video or not. If I roll it back a little bit. I'm not feeling real bluesy today. The lead sound is the Zen Master. The other sounds here on the phaser and the chorus, they're not really changed that much. My main crunch, which is mostly the Marshall sound I use with the Les Paul. Not too bad with this guitar either. The AC20 is kind of the one I like the most out of the non-deluxe amps for this guitar. This also has the EQ trick from Carter Cooper. I've just got the gain at 2. If I take it out. I'm also trying it for songs where I've got like an edge kind of sound or a dotted eighth delay. Okay, Les Paul time. Real quick on the deluxe. The Silver Jubilee is kind of my main crunch. You can actually look at the input EQ. I've done a little bit of messing with it. If I were to take out the EQ stuff, basically just put it the way it comes stock. Still pretty good, but this ends up... It's still good, but this ends up living next to the drum set and the bass player a little bit better on stage and through my speaker. So that's kind of the other thing, is I've got my EV speaker where things sound a certain way. I've got my monitor speakers, which are these kind of inexpensive JBLs that sound like garbage, and then you're hearing it through a different set of speakers. So it's always kind of a weird experience kind of trying this and then hearing the finished video and going, wait, that sounds totally different. You know, it doesn't usually sound bad, but it actually, it kind of shows me how much the speakers that you hear these sounds on actually influence what you think of them. Another sound I'm going for is kind of an 80s Marshall, kind of the AC/DC. I think a lot of the 80s Marshall sounds that I really like are the JMP Marshalls, and I think that's kind of what like AC/DC used, like on Back in Black. Sometimes the JTM 45s, but I've got either the Plexi or I've got the JCM 800 and later models and some preamps. So it's kind of hard actually finding what I like the most. So for right now, I'm working with the JCM 800. And you can see there's a little bit of EQ stuff going on with this one too. Clean sound. Not too bad. That's the lead sound with the pedal. Here's the lead sound with that. And a little bit of the AC20 with this guitar. Alright, if you like this video and want to support the channel, please subscribe, hit like, all that happy stuff people ask you for. Share it if you want to. There's also links below to our online store and some lessons and all kinds of other stuff. We've got a forum and a Facebook group and all that junk. So anyway, thanks a lot. Thanks for the support. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll probably every week or two have some sort of an update on my journey with this thing. Hopefully my struggles will help you guys out.